Hello, all you wonderful people. Welcome to the show again. Thank you for joining me. Today I have the black-red aggro deck that just top-8'd GP Warsaw. It was a really sweet deck, pretty sweet tournament. There were 8 green-black decks in that top 8, which I had done a video on last week. And so for this week, even though that was kind of the deck of the tournament, this black-red deck really caught my attention. It's mostly red, and it follows the classic formula of a lot of red aggro decks of just playing some creatures and then burning your opponent out. And so it starts out with Inventor's Apprentice and Bomat Courier. Inventor's Apprentice is kind of like a Curd Ape. It is very frequently going to be 1 mana for a 2/3, which is way above the normal, power level of what you get for a 1-drop. And then Bomat Courier, it's just a 1 mana 1/1 haste, but the whole discard your hand, get a bunch of cards thing actually comes out as like a pretty powerful effect. A lot of times you'll get, just 1 or 2 damage off this, and then it will draw you some cards. And just 2 mana, draw some cards, deal some damage is just great. You've also got Scrapheap Scrounger, which is a very good creature to be attacking with, and also it just keeps coming back from the graveyard, which goes really well with cards like Smuggler's Copter, where you're discarding cards to draw more, or even cards like Lightning Axe, where discarding the card is kind of a setback, but Scrapheap Scrounger being in your graveyard or in your hand is oftentimes just exactly the same. Sometimes it can even be better in your graveyard because you can play it at flash speed and dodge sorcery speed removal. You've also got Pia Nalaar, a nice way to power up your Smuggler's Copter and ensure that your Inventor's Apprentice is a 2/3. But Pia Nalaar is just good because it's 2 bodies for 1 card. So decks that are trying to kill you with a lot of 1-for-1 or shut you down with a lot of 1-for-1 removal are going to have a hard time with Pia. And the 1/1 Copter is kind of a big threat because you can pump up its power. You can also pump up the power of the Bomat Courier, Smuggler's Copter, and Scrapheap Scrounger with Pia's ability. So it's Pia's great in this deck. You've also got a card that I like quite a bit, Bloodhall Priest. So vampires are certainly my favorite tribe, and if you get to cast this for its madness, it's just insane. And also, it's the whole dealing 2 damage when it enters the battlefield or attacks, so long as you have no cards in hand, is something that comes into play quite a lot. A lot of the times with these aggro decks, you want to make sure that when you start running out of gas, you have a way to finish off your opponent, and Bloodhall Priest is, perfect for this. You can shoot down blockers or just go to your opponent's face. The deck comes with a lot of removal, which is also pretty nice. Lightning Axe is pretty sweet. Good way to enable madness on your Bloodhall Priest, or just get Scrapheap Scrounger into your graveyard. You've got Incendiary Flow, really good for dealing with opposing Scrapheap Scroungers, as well as creatures from the Temur Emerge deck that kind of want to die, but because Incendiary Flow says exile, things work out a little differently. Unlicensed Disintegration has got to be just the best removal spell we've seen in a pretty long time. Killing a guy and dealing 3 damage is unreal, and this deck does play 14 artifacts, and the Copter token from Pia and the Bomat Courier are 2 removal spells, or 2 artifacts that probably aren't going to warrant a removal spell a lot of the times. And the Scrapheap Scrounger comes back. Smuggler's Copter dodges a lot of removal, so Unlicensed Disintegration is going to be an all-star in this deck. And then we've also got Fiery Temper. 3 damage at instant speed is very good in this format. There's Smuggler's Copters you have to worry about. There are... oh man, I'm blanking on it. The blue-white Spirit... Spell Queller, there we go. I know I could do it. Shooting down Spell Quellers at instant speed is important, and the Madness 1 comes into play quite a bit when not only with the Smuggler's Copter and Lightning Axe, but also the Bomat Courier. When you discard your hand, if you have a Fiery Temper in your hand or a Bloodhall Priest, things can work out pretty well for you. So that's basically the main deck, and then on the sideboard we've just got some extra removal for other creature decks like the red-white deck, Weaver of Lightning and Chandra are just going to let you grind them out. Key to the City and Transgress the Mind I think are mostly for Ishkana decks, which there were a lot of and are quite good. Ishkana is one of the best ways to shut down an aggressive creature strategy. And then Incendiary Flow for when you just need things to stay dead or you need to go to your opponent's face a little bit more. So super sweet deck. I'm excited to play it, and now we're going to get on to some games.